Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, and the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry, and on the show this week, Infusion of Youth and just who is on the Expendable List. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steele as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Your host,
Lance Green.
Hey, and I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. On the show this week, and boy, we got a special one lined up for you this time, boys and girls. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. On the show this week, Infusion of Youth and just who is on the Expendable List. Lance, you put out two great articles this week, and I'm here to tell you, my man, they just get better and better, okay? For real, okay? And the last one, the latest one, in fact, is so fresh. It was just posted today on FlyersNittyGritty.com with Fletcher's infusion of young talent. He drafted, starting to seep into the Flyers lineup and who might be the next to be signed. And I have to tell you, man, what a great article to come out at this time and a potential player to be welcomed to the team. So thank you once again for writing some great articles this week, and this one was no exception. So in the article, you mentioned that there's a specific sixth rounder that by the name of Connor McLennan could be that next player that Fletcher drafted gets signed to the team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's got a lot going for him right now. This season, he had a little hard time with everything. It tried to find a place to play with his league not really kicking it up right at the beginning of the year, the WHL. But once they got it going, he got back to Winnipeg and really didn't seem to miss a step for the ice at all. So,
Well, that's awesome. Now, tell me something. What is it about this player that has you more excited than what you were, say, when he was selected in the sixth round?
for sure, obviously, it's tough. The Flyers fans, we want to see that grit and toughness come back, and you know, Connor's not that guy. But hopefully, we will draft some more guys in the future and maybe sign some in the free agent market this offseason and next that can do that. But Connor is now 19, and he's just a scorer, man. He's elusive. He's only 5'8", so that's really what the tough spot is there. But I think as opposed to say Bobby Brink, who is also that size that we drafted. I think he's got a little bit more to the table than Bobby Brink does. Bobby had a great World Juniors this year for Team USA, but I think Bobby needs star power around him to play well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and
Yeah.
he can play and he can be a piece, but he's not that guy that can spark an offense all by himself like Connor can.
Okay, I get what
And
you're saying now. I
yeah,
get what you're saying now. Yeah, because I see that too about Brink, and I see that about his game. You know what I mean? He does kind of come across as he's like the guy that is going to be the consummate playmaker for you. You know what I mean? And those are all great things. You know what I mean? And let's face it, the team has a plethora of those folks. Okay, and here's you already mentioned it. You mentioned it in your article. You speak very deftly about it in the article because you point out the number of goals, the skills that this player has, why you are not necessarily so high on him in the beginning, but now have a bit of a change of heart. At 5'8", I mean, I know there's speed and all, but that's pretty smallish. I mean, G is only 5'10". Okay, and there's bigger guys that are already knocking current Flyers players off the puck. Okay,
Right.
that are bigger and than this guy. I mean, what do you think he's gonna make it? I mean,
I think at this point he needs a challenge. I don't think the WHL is challenging him too much anymore. Um, he was up over a point 37 a game right now, so I think he needs a challenge. I think he needs to reach the AHL sooner rather than later. It might not come this off season because I think Chuck may be done. I think when he brought in Elliot Dejournay, signed him, and all, I think he may be done. Possibly not, but I think Connor goes back, but I don't know what he's going to gain from it if he goes back to the WHL for yet another season. Um,
I see what you're saying, but there's another player that I kind of want to talk to you about as well too, and that's O'Brien. I mean, look, I get that Connor could probably go for at least a shot at the AHL,
mhm.
at least a shot to see what he can do. They brought in Zade Wisdom, who is roughly about the same size, but is a much he plays a much bigger game than he actually is. And Wisdom is a little bit thicker than Connor is as well too. Okay, so that allows him to withstand the punishment a little bit more and allows him to dish it out more. You know, being that being that Marty St. Louis is all great, but I mean, does this kid have the chops?
Well, I think he is smart enough, and he's got the hockey IQ to get around that, and that's a difference that I see from Brink as well. He is elusive. He does go into the drives the net still. His size doesn't deter him from what he wants to do. He can sneak in behind the defense. He's not afraid to go into board battles and try to retrieve the puck.
Yeah,
Yes, the guys in the pros are going to be a lot bigger, but it's something that he's dealt with his whole career, and it's only going to be able to prove himself if he makes that next jump. You know, is he going to succeed at the even the AHL level? We won't know until he gets there, but he is far beyond exceeding expectations at the junior level, and I don't think he has anything else to prove there. So,
right.
so many people like to, and I'm working on this with somebody I reference in my latest article I'm working on. But the AHL now it seems to be a place where guys that are stuck in the middle, guys that are just career AHLers. And for me, that's not what the league is about. It's to develop, and I think I wrote a piece on this before. It needs to be to develop young talent. So many guys are just sitting in there 5, 6, 7 years. If you haven't got it by that point, you're probably not gonna get it. And yes, you may need a few veteran guys that can stay there like that for that time and help the young guys along. But for the most part, it's to develop young talent. It's to move guys to the next level to see if they can progress and eventually get to the NHL level. It's not to keep guys there 5, 6, 7 years and just be mundane pieces on the bench that third, fourth liners in the AHL. That's not what that league's supposed to be about.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at that. Okay, because you have a lot of those guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s, sometimes even late 30s that have been in the AHL for 10 or 12 years, and that's how they're making their living. Yeah, okay, but so now I don't begrudge somebody that. I mean, if you're good enough to play in the AHL, God love you,
Right.
because I wish I could be considered to be good enough to play in the AHL for a minute, much less 11 or 12 years or however long. You understand what I'm saying to you,
Yeah,
right?
I get you. I hear you. And I said there's a time and a place for those players, but you can't have a whole roster of those
Oh,
players
I
and
agreed.
block your young talent. That is
Agreed.
That is, like we discussed with Ivan Faturov. He has nowhere to go. He's ready to come over, but he has nowhere to go
Yeah.
because the team assigned so many different goalies. He can't progress from where he's at.
See, that's the problem. You need to have those couple of guys, those core guys there to be your, I guess, your leadership core,
Hmm.
you know, and then you need to put the rest of the young guys around there. Well, you keep signing these. Look, I'm probably gonna kick off the firestorm here, but you keep putting these tweener guys in,
Hmm.
okay, and they're just that. They're tweener guys. What business are you doing wasting time, effort, and money on guys that are never gonna frickin' make it? I have a hard time with that. Okay, look, I understand about giving people chances, and I understand that. Okay, and I'm not saying that, oh, you're relegated to the ECHL or you're relegated to the AHL. But if you're relegated to something like that, that's an opportunity for you to prove yourself to get back. Okay, that's not saying you're not bad and you're not horrible. We're kicking you off the team. That's just saying you're not good enough to be on the big club right now. We'll put you down on the AHL. Hey, you have a chance. If you play well, you get called up, and then once you get called, it's all about making best of your opportunities. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to put yourself in that best position to be in that opportunity there to play every night. And when you get up, you got to make it so that the coach doesn't want to take you out.
Yes.
I mean, so, all right. So, what kind of contract do you think you're going to be looking at here for Connor? I mean, I know it's going to be like an entry level contract, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a 2 or 3 year deal. It's going to be a two-way contract. It's going to be anywhere from 750 to $900,000, I would think. If he then makes it to the pro level, he would get to the NHL level, he would get that. AHL level, you would stay in a certain time. But again, I don't know if he's going to make it this year. Um, like you said, Jay O'Brien. Jay O'Brien might be signed, but that what this article was more about what guy of Chuck's is gonna be next. Jay O'Brien was left over from Ron Hextall's era, and he could possibly turn pro, especially if Nolan Patrick decides to leave town with the rumblings that he's unhappy here. So that's to be seen in the future. But I think for the next of Chuck's guys, I think Connor is going to be that next
right, I
guy up.
understand. I understand that. I understand that. But that's why I wanted to bring that up, though, because I know that Connor is one of Chuck's guys,
Mhm.
right? But if you're looking at strictly talent, you know what I mean? So you're saying that Connor is more of a talent than O'Brien?
I don't know. They play two different positions. They play two different style games. They're playing in two different type leagues. I think
Okay.
Jay would be a lot more ready to turn NHL quality, coming from the collegiate level where he's playing guys that are, even into their mid to early 20s sometimes if
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
stayed around in the college ranks. So, he's going to be more ready like Wade Allison was to just jump in and come in and just like Cam York did as well. So, it's hard to tell what these guys from the junior levels are able to do. I think too many teams want to leave them down there until they're 20 plus, and they're not really getting anything from scoring over 100 points a season in my mind. They're
Yeah,
not
there's no
progressing that game.
competition. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no competition, there's no challenge. Okay, great. So you just padded your stats for a year, got 160 points, and scored 150 million goals and whatever, whatever, and you only played 46 games. Well,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Here's the thing, though. There's that fine line between being an 18-year-old and being ready to play in the NHL and being an 18-year-old and being 3 years away from playing in the NHL.
Hmm.
Okay. And that is unfortunately the fine line that teams have to figure out. Is this 18-year-old kid capable of withstanding or playing in the NHL? Those are few and far between because that's a serious ask for an 18-year-old. I mean, I don't know about you, but unless you were in the military at 18 years of age, the last thing you were thinking about doing was starting for an NHL club, right? Okay.
For sure. Yeah, you can dream about that, but to have it actually be a reality is few and far between. And you probably ate, slept, and dreamed about that every second of the waking day. If you were able to reach that point, you were on the ice at 5 a.m. and all
Since
that
the
type
age of like
stuff.
3,
Right.
yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Right.
Okay, I'm with you. So, but okay, now we're starting to see the fact that the AHL was littered with a lot of Fletcher picks this year because of the junior leagues not playing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so now that we're getting approaching more of a normal off season where we're going to have a draft, we're going to have an expansion draft, we're going to have a normal off season, and most of all, I think all the leagues are going to come back. As far as I mean, I haven't seen where anybody is saying no, they're not gonna.
Right.
So until I hear them say no, they're not gonna, then I'm gonna assume that they're gonna. So
Right.
which means now that you're gonna have all the leagues open back up, and you're gonna have these young players now are gonna be able to play in these junior leagues now. I still think that there's that fine line between that 18-year-old can make it in the NHL and that 18-year-old that can't. You know what I mean? And I really worry about guys like this because I see the skill and the talent. You know what I mean? But I worry about the size. Can he withstand? I mean, the next article that we're going to get into is particularly, and that's why I made that comment about how there's current flyers being taken off the puck now that are much larger than 5'8" or 5'10" or whatever.
Right.
And so I don't know, man.
That's a difference though. I mean, when you're that small, you got to have the heart to go out there, and you got to have be a little bit off to be able to go out there and play against the Charas of the
Well,
league,
all right.
and
Yeah, okay, but we don't have to go out and play against Chara every night. So,
yeah,
and the likes of Chara are few and far between now. You know what I mean? And he's probably gonna retire now, I guess. But I like this player. I liked his offensive skill that I was able to observe and watch and see. But see, that's the thing. I, I would like to see him get a shot. Okay, I just want to see him get a shot, see how it goes, see what happens. Okay, if the guy's got then let him have at it, right? Because this team needs all the help it can get, and it doesn't matter how small or how tall you are. This team needs all the help it can get, and if you can put the puck in the net and help this team win, then hey, buddy, welcome to the club,
right.
right? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm all about. I mean, I don't know about you, but oh, Lance, I gotta tell you something, man. First of all, want to come out and say a huge congratulations for the show with O and B.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. The 10 questions with Lance Green. If you haven't checked that out, folks, you gotta be over there at O and B, man. That's the standard. Okay, that's who we look to. All right, the gang over there at O and B rock it out good, and Isaiah had you on the hot seat for 10 grueling questions. And if you got you, man, you got to check that out. It's on Apple, it's on SoundCloud, it's on YouTube. So you name it, they're out there. Spotify, check that out. OMB podcast, 10 questions with Lance Green. Check that out. So congratulations on that one, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I thought it went pretty well last night. So
That's awesome, man. That's great. And I love hearing the truth because Isaiah is all about the truth, man. You just can't hide from him.
no, you definitely can. He knows his stuff, and
Yep.
if you try to feed him a line, he's gonna
He's
put it
calling
back
you
at
out.
you.
He's
Yeah, he's
calling
gonna.
you out.
He is. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Man, it's great. I'm glad you got to do the show with him. That's awesome sauce. I would also like to congratulate the Hockey Writers Inc. for making the Bleacher Reports for the 28th week in a row. That's the salute to all of the gang over there at FlyersNittyGritty.com and Jamie Baskow. Thank you very much for all of your support and all of your help. Very much appreciate that. We would also like to take a moment out there to say that we would like to also give the Hockey Writers Inc. salute to our veterans. This is Memorial Day weekend, and if it wouldn't be for the sacrifice that you guys made, we would not be where we are doing what we're doing. So thank you to all those that serve and also those that continue to serve. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. So appreciate that. We would also like to thank our sponsor, Canine Country Club Resorts. They take care of all your pets' needs, from daycare to spa treatments and even pool time. Check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. You can also check them out on Facebook. And also, just to let you know, the outdoor pool is open and ready for your enjoyment. Get time down there for the pool. Get cooled off. Hang out with your puppies down there at the pool. They got picnic tables and everything down there, so you can hang out and throw toys in and bring a little cool lunch to come out and hang out and enjoy. We're going to play a little commercial from our sponsors, and we'll be right back after this. Greetings. This is SteelFlyers from the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. SteelFlyers stands behind this company 100%. Taken care of SteelFlyers furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The SteelFlyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for the people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. All right, welcome back. Thank you very much for checking out a word from our sponsors there, Canine Country Club Resorts. Really appreciate that. Lance, man, I got to tell you something. I want to congratulate you on a show you did with O&B Puckcast. You did the 10 questions with the O&B Puckcast. The great Isaiah had you on the hot seat, right?
That he did. That he did. It was a lot of fun getting to go on that show and get grilled for a little bit. And he picked my brain pretty good. So if you guys get a chance to check that out
Oh,
over
yeah.
on OMB Podcast, they're out via everything. YouTube, Spreaker, you name it. They're on it. So
Yep. Spotify, Apple. Look, OMB Podcast, part of the FlyersNittyGritty.com group, as is Lance. Man, look, we look to you guys as the standard. So you got to be checking these guys out. OMB Podcast is definitely the place to be to check out all your Flyers podcasting needs. These guys are the standard for sure. So great show that you got to do there, Lance. That was awesome. Really, really good show. That was cool stuff to watch. So also would like to say congratulations to making Bleacher Reports for the 28th week in a row.
all right.
Wow, man, that is the huge Hockey Writers Inc. salute for the FlyersNittyGritty.com group and Jamie Bascow. Really appreciate all of your support and really appreciate you helping us make Bleacher Reports again for the 28th week in a row. So thank you very much to that. All right, my man. This second article that you did was really, look. We really gotta address this situation here. Okay, this article posted to FlyersNittyGritty.com just out on the 25th of May, and folks, look. We have to realize that there's an expendable list here for the Flyers. And you point that out and in this latest article here that you did. And one of those players on that list is Travis Sanheim.
Yeah, for sure. Travis, he's 25 now. He's been in the league for quite a while, and he had a horrendous season last year, as most of the team did, but him in particularly. Throughout 55 games, I think this season he played, he was a minus 22 on the year. Uh,
Oh,
yes, and that
oh.
pretty bad for I have to say
How many games did he
this
play?
yeah, 55.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's a minus 28 on his career now. And those numbers, take it from this goaltender turned writer, is not very good. I would not appreciate him out on the ice in front of me, that's for sure.
No. And
No.
ready?
So,
No, no.
and I think one of the biggest flaws to his game, he is 6'4". He does have great size, but it's his lack of physicality. And no, it's just not his lack of hits which he definitely did have a lack of. He only had 40 or something this season. Even I think Scott Lawton,
I mean, he's a
uh,
defenseman.
yes, as a defenseman, he only had 40 hits. Most every offenseman out hit him this season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so much so that I think Scott Lawton, who led the team this season in hits, almost eclipsed his career totals in hits in just this season alone.
Scott Lawton did.
Scott Lawton almost
Yeah, like the
eclipsed
number of hits that he.
Sanheim's. Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
so
problem.
last time I checked, defensemen were supposed to a play defense, b stop the puck carrier by any means necessary, c refer back to rule number 3, stop the puck carrier for any means necessary. I
Yes.
mean, isn't that the rule? Isn't that the job of defensemen?
It definitely is. And Sanheim is not using his size to his advantage. Usually, when he is out on the ice, he does not stand players up the blue line. Instead, he backpedals into the zone and tries to poke check the best of the Eastern Conference.
No.
And if you have watched any games
No.
this season, that clearly was ineffective.
Oh man, all you had to do was watch a game against the Capitals. Ovechkin just stepped right to him, man. He tried to poke check him, and he was like, "What?" And he just stepped right away and skated right around him and scored. Like,
Multiple times.
no, but I'm just talking about that one play
Yes.
where it was against Travis Sanheim, and he tried to olay the poke check. What the frick is that? All right, okay. My blood pressure is calming down now, but now do you understand now why I have a hard time and why I'm so frustrated with the coaching? The coach doesn't seem to be putting the right players in the right situations at the right time, and it doesn't seem like the management is giving him the right players to put in at the right time. I
Right.
mean, you're giving me guys like Travis Sanheim, who's the same guy as Philip Myers, who's the same guy as Gustafson, who's the same guy as Ghost. I mean, even though they're not necessarily the same size, but they play the same kind of game.
Right. Yeah, very much so. And that's one of the things. I think Sanheim is expendable because one, he has an expiring contract. He's a restricted free agent, and he could be packaged in a deal
Oh
to
yeah,
get one of a more necessary piece, if you will. We need a right-hand shot defenseman, specifically a first pairing right-hand shot defenseman. We
sure.
need
Hey, look,
right,
I would just take the right. I would just take the first top line pairing. I don't
right.
care what size shot he's on. I don't care.
Right. Then we need a scoring winger. I think we have a
Yeah,
lot of playmakers, but nobody that can put the puck in the net.
exactly.
Okay, that's two. Number three is we need a goaltender that is an upgrade over the 36-year-old Brian Elliott. We need a tandem goaltender. We
Like a
need
one B.
a 1A, 1B type
Yeah,
player
yeah.
that is going to challenge Carter Hart to be better than he was the game before. Because if he isn't on top of his game, then that guy is more than able to step in and play
When you're looking over
those
your
top
shoulder.
line. Yeah,
When you're looking over your shoulder.
yeah. So that's what I think we need. We need
Yeah.
somebody that is just coming off of a starting role that maybe got beat out by a younger guy or whatever like that, that's in his late 20s, early 30s, and can stick around for a year or two, but potentially play 30, 40 games a
Yeah.
season and win those games. That's the
They're gonna
difference
need
here,
to.
guys.
Gonna
That's the
need to.
difference here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We need that guy that can play any team out there on any given night. Instead of the normal backup goaltender of yesteryears that is going to be looking to the Buffalo Sabres or the New Jersey Devils or whatever team, the Detroit Red Wings right now of the league's bottom of the barrel type teams to play that week. Well, these guys are playing more and more frequently now as backup goaltenders. They're playing upwards of 30 games a year, which is a lot of points to give up. And that is why I think we need that 1B type goaltender as well. But and the reason why Sanheim is expendable in that sense, like I said, he is a restricted free agent that could be packaged in a deal.
Right.
But he is that guy that is a left-hand shot. And what do we have a plethora of in the Phantoms is left-hand shot defensemen. We
Yeah.
have a guy named Cameron York. We have Igor Zumla, and we even have a guy that was on the bench most of this season, Sam Moran. All three of those guys could better suit to step in and play next season for a cheaper price than Sanheim.
Yeah.
Especially Moran, who is more physical, but Cameron York could step up and be that top four
Yeah.
defenseman next season, I believe.
Wow. Okay, look, I got a chance to watch Cameron York play, not just in the World Juniors, but I watched quite a few of his Michigan games, right? And this kid just exudes leadership, right? And he just, like, he was elected captain of the United States team.
That's what I was going to say. There's a reason why he was elected captain of Team USA.
And when he got to play those couple of games when he got called up for the Flyers, I had never seen a 20-year-old defenseman slow the game down like a Pronger. When Pronger got the puck on his stick, the game just ooh. And it was like, all right, who can I pass it to? And Pronger was just looking around and who can I pass it to, right? I mean, we saw that. We got to see that. Okay? And he just slowed the game for a 20-year-old. Come on. You don't see that. You just don't see that for a 20-year-old defenseman who's a nobody in this league coming in for his first or second game and just slows the game down automatically when the puck is on his stick. That to me is what impressed me the most.
Right. And he's definitely an exciting player to watch, and as is Zumala and that token. But that's what I'm saying here, guys. We have guys in the system that could replace him
Yeah.
next season and allow us to use that cap space to get some of these other spots. Now, why also I think he's physicality, to go back to that for a second, is a problem, or lack thereof is a problem, because he cannot put the muscle on that is needed. He doesn't taken the time after 3 or 4 seasons by now to really get into the gym. Like some other places, players like Joel Farabee have in this past offseason, to be able to bulk up. And an example of this would be last season when in a game, Giroux got absolutely annihilated by the 5'4" Nathan Gerby, which I show a video of in my article.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Sanheim does the right thing. He comes in and he grabs a hold of Gerby, who is a foot shorter than him, and he tries to make him realize that, hey, you can't do that. But he allows Gerby to take him to the ice and manhandle him. How is this pure lack of strength and physicality uh, been able to make him an NHL quality defenseman? I just don't see it,
That's not how you
guys.
stick up for your captain.
No,
When you go out there, you're supposed to manhandle the guy that hurts your captain,
that's
not get manhandled by a guy that's a foot shorter than you.
that's how you get fans in the stands grab their paper bags or whatever and place over their heads.
Look, we've seen enough of that in Philadelphia, right? Seriously, we need to start seeing some cheers. We need to start. Look, the whole thing of it is this: at 6'4" and not even at 200 or barely at 200 pounds, right? Um, that's not very conducive to be a very physical person.
No.
When you're 6'4" and you're not even 200 pounds, okay, that's not conducive. And the $3.5 million or $3.25 million contract that he was paid the last 2 years is now off the books. So he's a restricted free agent. We can potentially, like you said, package him up. Right, that gives the Flyers even more money now because they were without signing Sanheim and without signing a backup goalie, and without re-signing Carter Hart. Okay, the Flyers now with not having Sanheim on the books now, or have like $11.5 million.
Right.
to play with, right? So you spend $5 or $6 million on Carter Hart and a backup goalie. Okay, so that doesn't leave you much room to fill those other two holes, meaning a defenseman that's going to come in, be that top pair defenseman, or that winger that's going to be that, shoot first mentality. So
Hmm.
that means that one of those players is going to have to come from the roster. Uh, I mean, that's kind of what it's boiling down to here, right?
I think so. I mean, it seems like a lot of money there with $11.5 million, but it
But it
does
ain't.
not go. But it does not go very far in today's game,
No.
especially even with us getting Carter Hart at hopefully a reduced price after this season. His play this season. So it's still not a lot to be able to sign the type of players that we
No,
need.
no, it's not. It's not because that's exactly what we're talking about here. The Flyers need more of those types of players that are. Look, we have enough playmakers on the team. We need guys that shoot first. Okay. We also know that there's probably going to be somebody exposed on the team. Okay, it is what it is, right? And this team needs to have some changeover. And I've been saying this now since the end of the season. What Chuck Fletcher does this offseason is going to affect the Flyers for the next 5 years. Whether whether he sees that out, because I don't think he's gonna, to be honest with you, my man. I don't have any faith in Chuck Fletcher at all. I have
Well,
zero faith in him.
I'm hopeful, and I think he is getting to stick around.
Hopeful, yes. Faith, not so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I think what saved him from getting the axe as of yet is his drafting. He's been able to draft some pretty good players even late into the draft, but for me, he needs to pick it up and make the moves that he's been trying to do with moving Ghost in the offseason. He's trying to move Ghost the past like 2 seasons and hasn't been able to do so.
They
It's
even put
about
him on
time.
waivers and still couldn't even get him out. I mean, look, the guy is not going anywhere. You might as well just get used to it.
Right. So you're going to have to try something different there, Chuck. And in my mind, you got to get creative, and you got to be able to trade for some different players without so much cap, and find that diamond in the rough. Um, that's there. They are there on this unrestricted free agent list, and for not that much money either. The type of people that we do need to bring in. So.
So that's been my whole thing with this, and I'm glad you wrote this article. I think it was it addresses exactly what's going on here. Because even though we can be disappointed in Travis Sanheim's game and all that, um, I, I really feel that he is exactly that. He's one of those expendable players that he either needs to be packaged up or he needs to just not be re-signed altogether. Because there's enough players on the team currently that can fill his role, that are already signed, that we don't need to worry about protecting, and they're going to be a heck of a sight cheaper. Okay?
Yeah, I think they do try to get something for him. If they do decide to package him, that's what I
Yeah,
hope so. But
yeah.
you know, uh,
You know what
in
they
in
could do,
saying
though,
that,
Lance? You know what they could do? They could just say because he's a restricted free agent, right? They could just offer him up to Seattle, and then that's who Seattle takes.
you could offer a pick or something to choose that player. It's a bunch of different options there, or they could re-sign him and allow them to select them at that time. If they have those discussions with him, there's a bevy of different options here. But the
There
thing
is.
about it is that Chuck needs to make moves. I think it's his time to go out there and make his stamp on this team for the
I
large
agree.
majority of the time.
Yeah.
And the roster is still compiled up of Ron Hextall's guys, and he does not owe any of these players anything. He wasn't the one to select them, so he's not admitting any fault in their lack of. Uh, ability to progress in nature. So, if he cuts a few or trades a few, so be it, if that means that he's going to bring back some different players that are going to help this team in the long run.
So let me ask you a question here. If he re-signs Sanheim, that to me is a sign of going in the wrong direction. Would you agree with that?
I do. He's young, and yes, you don't want to give up on a player that young, but even before he was drafted, he didn't possess these qualities at the junior ranks. He's not that type of player. And, even with Shel Samuelson down there as a player development coach who was physical as all day, um, you know, he didn't get that part of the game across to Sanheim, or
He didn't get
Sanheim
that
just
memo,
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah, Sanheim just doesn't care enough to want to try to develop that part of his game.
It's such a shame, too, when you see players that limit themselves to trying to be only a specific part. Look, you should be lucky that you made it to the NHL and you should be doing everything you can to stay there. That's easy for us to say as we sit here on this side of the microphone. You know what I mean? So I really think that if Chuck Fletcher re signs Sanheim, that to me is an indication that Chuck still doesn't get it. In
I think
my
so.
opinion.
Yeah. I
In my
think Nolan
opinion.
Nolan Patrick's in the same boat in my
I
mind.
agree. If Nolan Patrick is re signed, I think that's a move that is going in the wrong direction for the Flyers. Because I just don't see the rationale behind the signings. I just don't see it. And I don't see wasting that money on. And that's like when we saw with the last off season where the Gustafson was signed and the Braun was signed. You know what I mean? And those I think were done in the spur of the moments because Niskanen retired. Right?
Hmm.
I mean, look, Niskanen was not that. It's not like he was Chara
In his
or
prime or something.
or
Yeah.
Dougie Hamilton in his prime or Hedman or anything like that. Okay, he was just a veteran defenseman that had won a cup and played a you know, top pairing defenseman. Okay, so it's not like he was this, huge superstar that suddenly, oh my gosh, the world stopped with Niskanen, which is why I'm so irritated and frustrated because they put so much onus on the fact that Niskanen retired. So what? One guy? One guy.
Well, and I think that's a problem with ownership now. With Ed Snyder passing and him not being around, that's something that he would be bursting into Chuck's office and screaming him out at him to go get that guy that they need, and by whatever means necessary. He was a risk taker,
Yeah.
and for a long time, it kept his team very competitive. And with the ownership now just through corporate trying to look at the side of it and of making money and having no real ownership of or for the team to win, what is the cause? Yeah, I mean, so what? As long as we still have revenue coming in, it's fine in that token. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem moving forward until the team is
Well,
eventually sold.
right. Well, if you want to play that card, then look at it like this: ownership, because I know you're watching. You get a lot of money when you make it in the playoffs. I mean, it's a really good, huge revenue generation for you. And this year would have been even more special because now there's fans in the stands. So you would actually be generating money this year if you made the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean
Oh,
that's
you didn't make the playoffs this year. Oh,
yeah.
shucks.
Yeah.
Better luck next year, right? Look,
I'm just tired of the excuses as well. I'm tired of the excuses with ownership saying, well, Chuck really did try when Niskanen retired to bring somebody in. Well, apparently he didn't try hard enough. Yes, I get there are a number of different teams out there, but you didn't do enough. You didn't trade somebody when you couldn't get somebody on the open market for free agency. You didn't make that move to regain that person that you lost,
Right.
and
And
it,
then
it
by
showed this
sitting
season.
back, and then by sitting back and waiting until the last minute, you got stuck with like Gustafson or whoever, right? And then you gave him so much money. What? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, in the
I'm
same
trying to be
token,
good.
when teams were making early deals at the trade deadline, the Flyers were still relatively in it, and they could have popped into the bottom, 6, 7, 8 of the playoffs. But they chose to wait till the absolute last day to see what they were going to be in position wise to do something. Well, the teams that are in the playoffs right now made deals very early on to get that guy that they were lacking.
So, do you remember when we said that I have very almost zero to no faith in Fletcher? See, these are the reasons why I have zero to no faith in Fletcher. Hope is different, but faith, I've seen too many missteps. Okay. Okay, you brought Hayes in because that was pretty much an AV call. AV said, "Look, I need somebody that's going to help me sell the system. You can bring this guy in; he'll be a good." And Hayes has been pretty good, all things considered.
And he's
He,
been hurt this
I
season,
was
and
just going
he
to
should
say, he
be
played
have a
hurt.
great, yeah, he
Yeah,
should
you
have a
know,
good season next season.
right, and he played hurt, and everything like that. But I just seen too many mistakes that were not corrected, and then were made excuses for when they were, suddenly brought to their attention that, well, excuse me, well, why didn't this happen, or why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? Well, then the list of excuses started rolling. Okay, so it appears that everybody's going to go, okay, so yeah, 2021 season. We'll just forget that ever happened. And we'll start with a clean slate for 2021-22, and we'll go from there, because that seems like that's what's happening here, man. And I'm here to tell you, I don't have warm and fuzzies about it. I have cold and scratchies. Okay, that's the new coin term. Like, it's not warm and fuzzy; it's cold and scratchy. And I don't have any warm and fuzzies about what Chuck's trying to do or what he's gonna do or what I haven't heard or what I haven't heard anything about nothing or nobody. I would be on the phone, man. Well, I'm not the general manager of the Flyers, so what do I know? Oh man, well listen, Lance, I think we got a really good one here, man. You had two really great articles. Um, really super insight, especially with the Travis Sanheim article. That was really awesome. And then also with the Connor McLennan potentially getting his entry level contract as well. To get a shot to play at the AHL level, see what he can do despite his diminutive size. So, how can we follow you? Where can we get all your great stuff, man? Where we can read all your articles?
Sure, as always, on flyersnittygritty.com or steelflyers.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at LNGBASSIST. The number's 39, and all my stuff's also on Bleacher Report as well.
Yeah, man. Just like the Hockey Writers Inc. show is on Bleacher Reports as well. So there you go. You get to see all the Lance's stuff and Hockey Writers Inc. There you have it. Thank you all very much for watching. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Canine Country Club Resorts. You can find them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. Check them out on Facebook as well. Just remember, the pool is open now. So get your pool time scheduled. Get your doggies down there. Have a little picnic on the pool outside. Enjoy that for sure. Thank you very much, Lance, for doing a great show. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all checking us out, hitting the like and subscribe. How's
Very
this?
important, guys. Very
Very
important.
important.
It helps us gain viewers and move up the rankings of all the podcasts. So more and more people will tune in. So if you like what you see, please like and subscribe on any avenue that you watch or listen to us on.
Exactly. So very much appreciate that. Appreciate all the support that you guys do. We'll catch you guys all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. Thanks for joining us.